ideas about government and what were the founders' basic ideas, all right? According to the founders, what are the basic purposes of government? Why did the framers think a constitution was necessary to achieve these purposes? Which did the founders think was more important, the common good or individual rights? Does our government still serve the purposes that the framers intended?
According to the founders, what is the basic purposes of government? The founders thought that the government would make the road easier for the people. The founders believed that the people had certain rights, which were the rights to life, liberty, and property. They wanted the rights to be enforced by the government. Having a government would also protect the people, keep them happier. So as you can see, the founders made government to protect the rights of life, liberty, and property. The government makes sure that the people follow the rights. If you do not follow the rights, you'll be punished for their doings. As in, you'll be sent to jail for their breaking of the law. The next person may speak.
According to the founders, what are the
We'll move on, David. We'll come back to you in a minute. Go ahead, Skylar.
The founders voted individual rights instead of common good. They saw it was good because they let you have freedom to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Most important, happiness. When it comes to life, a person can't shoot you or kill you with a gun. This is why they voted individual rights, so people can't go around killing people for no reason. The individual rights has a set of rules and laws that must be followed.
People thought that the common good was better than the individual rights. It's an opinion. When you, the people, follow the individual rights, they let you have freedom of all things. The individual rights let you have freedom to life, speech, liberty, and most important, the pursuit of happiness. The individual rights have rules. When it comes to freedom of life, no one can kill or hurt you in any way. With the pursuit of happiness, you have the right to be happy. Freedom of speech involves you having the right to speak. For example, no one can tell you what or what not to say. Arizona is a very lucky place. Lots of other states and countries don't have freedom of liberty. Places with freedom of liberty get to do things and go places. That is why the individual rights are so important to the people. The next person may speak.
Does the government still serve the purposes that the framers intended? I think yes and no, and here's why. I think no, because the government tried banning homeschooling before there were even public schools. In my own personal opinion, I think parents should be able to give children education where they're most comfortable. I also think yes, because the government protected the rights to life, liberty, and property. Life is the right to live freely without being hurt or killed. Liberty is the right to freedom, and property is the right to own things such as a business or home. In conclusion, our group has worked very hard to get up to this point, and we were very glad to be here today. Thank you for your time and consideration.
The framers thought the Constitution was necessary to achieve these purposes because the British broke into the colonists' homes and took their boy and youth to the Revolutionary War. That is what started the Boston Tea Party, the Boston Massacre, all that ended up in the Revolutionary War. Thank you for your time and consideration.
All right. Now we'll begin with some follow-up questions, okay?
You guys talk about the individual rights and the common good in the Constitution. Can you tell me what you think would happen if we decided to change the Constitution or get rid of it?
If we got rid of the Constitution,
I think everything would be in chaos. Because people could take over the government and be supreme ruler and change the rules about everything. Like, you have to live this certain lifestyle, or this certain way and respect this certain religion.
If we didn't have limited power, like Vincent said, we would the whole United States would just come apart, and it would just be out of control.
Okay. Let me ask you, if you've been studying the founders and looking at the writing of the Constitution, if you had to pick to be one of the founders, which one would you want to be and why?
I would want to be Thomas Jefferson because he is the one who wrote the Constitution.
I would want to be George Washington, to be one of the founding fathers and to help write the Constitution.
Okay. If you think of somebody, you can come back to it. Another thing I wanted to ask you is when you talk about the basic purposes of government, what do you think is the most important purpose of government?
The rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Can you please repeat that question?
Okay. When you look at what government is supposed to do, protections and its most important purpose, you know, we talk a lot about life, liberty, and property, and that's important. Do you think that's still the most important? Is there something else that you would look at?
Well, I think Skyla's opinion was pretty right on because I think the life, liberty, and property later changed to pursuit of happiness is pretty good for the government because if we didn't have those rights, they would be choosing whether who dies and who lives. They would practically be choosing, they wouldn't know if people were good or bad, so they're just sentencing some good people to death. And also, I've been hearing a rumor about Obamacare, and they've been saying that Obamacare is taking away the right to life for old people, because they are saying that the people in Obamacare are choosing whether the old people get the surgery to live or if they don't.
Okay, thank you.
We talked about life, liberty, or happiness, the pursuit of happiness. To you, what does it mean to have the liberty to pursue your own happiness?
May you please restate that question?
What do you think the individual right of the pursuit of happiness means?
Means you have the right to be happy. You can do certain things to be happy. You can do one thing or another if it makes you happy. But some other people might think that pursuit of happiness wouldn't be a good thing in government because they think that some people just don't like to be happy or just don't like to do certain things that they like to do.
Do you think that everybody should be able to do anything that makes them happy, or do you think there should be some limits to that?
Not anything. There should be limits to it because if people are happy by killing somebody, that's taking away their right to life.
Right. In your speech, you talk about, again, and we've talked about how the government protects us. Can you give me any kind of specific examples of how government protects us today?
The government protects us by sending out an army to fight for us to go to school and have the things we have today. Because some people in Afghanistan or India, they don't have the kind of things we have. So the government here is helping them and us by making sure other invading armies don't take away our rights.
Like recently, we went to Afghanistan and we helped them with the Constitution. So I agree with Vincent with his answer because they're protecting us and giving another country a constitution.
They also protect us by giving us doctors to help us in the illness.
Okay.
If another country were to come to America and say, we need to make our own constitution, what's the first thing you would tell them when they're making their own constitution?
I would tell him to have the basic rights that we have. No one can kill anybody for no reason. And they could probably have a president or someone that makes choices for them.
I would tell them to get the rights that we have and make the Constitution back to their own land. So they can change the people there from mean people, hurting people,
Finish your, time's up, go ahead and finish your thought.
and they can not hurt people and things like that. So they can just understand the rules and not take away other people's rights.
All right. Well, congratulations, give them a round of applause.